At the end of March, I visited my sister at the Women's Liberal Arts College, Barnard College in New York City, and I decided to schedule a college tour at Barnard. When I was on the tour, a parent asked our tour guide if she noticed a difference between the mostly all-women classes she took at Barnard and the co-ed classes she took at Columbia University. This spurred my interest in the relationship between gender and education, and I believe there are both negative and positive implications of gender in education. Schools sometimes allow the oppression of women when they tolerate boys' negative behavior because boys will be boys, and when they condemn girls' negative behavior because girls should always be well behaved.
In high school, there definitely was more of an expectation that my female classmates and I were to be on better behavior than our male peers. I wouldn't have acted out anyways, but there definitely was sometimes a boys will be boys attitude from teachers when boys used to act out.
In To Kill a Mockingbird, Scout's attitude towards femininity is one of resentment because of its prison-like suffocation, especially in the form of Aunt Alexandra. After losing her mother at an early age, Scout has no mother-like example of what a woman should resemble. Being a tomboy that plays with boys and wears overalls, Scout is often chastised by her Aunt Alexandra, who believes a woman must wear dresses and is not supposed to be doing things that require pants. She wants Scout to play with girly toys such as toy cooking sets and tea sets, and to be an angelic presence in her father's life. By encouraging this, Aunt Alexandra is validating the gender prejudice that women should live a domestic life, cooking and cleaning. This prejudice is also evident in their town of Macomb, where women cannot serve on the jury because they must protect their frail ladies from sordid cases like Tom's. Besides being feminine, women were also expected to maintain their angelic nature and innocence. Girls are often idealized as being neat and quiet, while boys are motivated to be independent and to share their opinions. When boys are tormented for throwing or crying like a girl, it sends a message that girls are inferior and do not deserve respect.
During my first 2 years, I found that in classes with men or male teachers even, I was less likely to share opinions or ask questions than in my all-female classes.
If girls are viewed as inferior and do not deserve respect, the appropriate behavior for boys must then include exerting their masculinity and power over girls.
A ton of mansplaining in my core classes. In an isolated incident, when I did my senior capstone workshop, my co-project manager would often knowingly or unknowingly take on roles we were supposed to share without speaking to me, implying that I would just let him get his way. I have been in all-girls classes and co-ed classes, and I want to say sometimes the all-girls spaces allow for more free flow of discussion because there aren't males desperate to dominate the discussion.
In a study conducted by Joseph Simpian and Sarah Lubinsky, they found that no average gender gap in math test scores existed when boys and girls entered kindergarten, but a gap of nearly 0.25 standard deviations developed in favor of the boys by around 2nd or 3rd grade. Exploring deeper, they found that the gap was due in part to the beliefs that students have about student ability. Another teacher that denied this gender difference in her students' standardized test scores found herself guilty when she said, "See, the girls can do just as well as the boys if they work hard enough." You can see its negative implications in Nicole's story.
There was never a verbalized bias, but high-achieving male students were given more attention than high-achieving female students in STEM areas. Additionally, there was a lower expectation for female students to take STEM classes. I was one of 3 female students in my industrial tech class of 21 students. Most of the gender stereotyping I encountered occurred between students and teachers. By this I mean students would have different expectations of treatment and grading depending on the teacher's gender. Students assumed female teachers would be more lenient and open to listening to personal problems, while male teachers were regarded as intimidating and harsh for a good reason. I believe Barnard allowed me to understand that my voice and opinions were valuable in the classroom.
Although I focus more on gender in the discussion of equality in education, I also received responses that shine a light on more intersectional approaches to identify race, sexuality, and socioeconomic status.
Regarding gender, I did not experience any significant stereotyping from teachers or students. I believe this is because HSPVA was progressive about gender politics. However, I feel like I encountered stereotypes based on race, sexuality, and socioeconomic status. More experiences were racially based because of the lack of diversity in my high school.
By learning more about the disparities between genders in education, I am now able to and call others to recognize the inequality we face and to stand up for the respect that we deserve.